why should we even care about biodiversity? There's a bunch of reasons that actually make it important, I guess, for human survival. So, first off, a more diverse landscape is a more resilient landscape. And resilience is quite obviously a good thing because it makes us less vulnerable to hazards, basically, less vulnerable to threats, less vulnerable to damage, less vulnerable to things like climate change, economic issues. Recent examples with the Strait of Hormuz closing and effect that one piece of water closing has an effect on our society. COVID is another great recent example of how important it is for us to be resilient as a society. And so having more diversity helps us be more resilient. A resilient landscape isn't necessarily the most productive landscape, so like a pine plantation can produce a whole lot more timber than native forest might necessarily do, but it's far less resilient. So if a disease sweeps through that kills off Pinus radiata, then that entire industry is potentially at risk because they might lose a very high percentage of trees, whereas if you are in a diverse forest and one species gets taken out, then the risk to the entire forest ecosystem is much less. Another factor which makes biodiversity important is really we don't know what we don't know, and a lot of our technological advances over the last couple of hundred years have been inspired by nature. Things like insect eyes helping with us to develop new technology, new medicines being found from plants and animals and fungi, and just different resources that we as humans can utilize to help improve our lives and the quality of our lives and our survival, essentially. And then from a less selfish perspective, not focusing on humans and thinking that humans are important and the center of the universe, there is the fact that Earth, as far as we know, is the only planet in the universe that life exists. And if it was just one species living here, it would be way less interesting than the millions of species that we have here that currently exist on Earth. Although, species are going extinct every day, so that number is reducing every day, but the diversity of life on Earth is really just the biggest treasure that we have here.